The Chinese Communist Party cracking down on protesters as they rally against COVID lockdowns. We are now learning America's largest company, Apple, has restricted the use of its AirDrop feature in the communist nation. It allowed users to share content between Apple devices and dodge China's censorship. And now Elon Musk says Apple's threatening to boot Twitter from its app store. So how did we get to a point where big tech companies consider 280 characters a bigger threat than the communist regime? Let's bring in South Carolina Republican Senator Lindsey Graham. Senator, good to have you here today. Why are we here today, and why are we not going tougher on China for its behavior?
Money. You got 1 billion people in China. Corporate appeasement of the Chinese Communist Party is pretty rampant. I like Apple. They're a great American company, but the Chinese Communist Party writes the rules of the road. And to do business in China, you either leave the customer base or you follow their lead. The NBA has appeased China. The movie industry appeases China. Now Apple. And I think this is a mistake. So you've got Apple threatening to take Twitter out of the Apple store, and at the same time doing the bidding of the Communist Party, restricting sharing of information to people who are trying to protest. I think we got it backwards here, and I think what drives this is just money and market share.
Yeah, well, obviously, too, Apple has got a lot invested in this because the protests against the COVID lockdowns at Foxconn factories, looks like Apple is going to be short some 6 million iPhone Pros this year, so that's definitely going to hurt their bottom line. But it also gets into the idea of free speech when we pull back to 30,000 feet here and we take a look at the idea that Apple, according to Elon Musk, may re-examine whether or not the Twitter app is available on the Apple Store. And Musk also tweeted this, quote, "Apple has mostly stopped advertising on Twitter. Do they hate free speech in America?"
Well, all I can say that Apple's a private company and Twitter's a private company. They have their differences. I would hope that Apple would keep allowing Twitter to be part of the Apple Store. But big tech, you can't sue these people because of Section 230, and there's no regulatory scheme that works. So I'm going to unveil a digital regulatory commission to deal with social media companies like Apple and Twitter and Google. We need some regulatory environment to control the abuses of power here. So I'm going to do that with Elizabeth Warren. You look for something that can bring us together in Washington. Social media is out of control. They need to be regulated in some fashion. And I think that brings both parties together.
Okay, so then maybe you agree with Karine Jean-Pierre at the Biden White House, who said this. Listen.
We're all keeping a close eye on this. We're all monitoring what's currently occurring, and we see it with our own eyes of what you all are reporting, and just for ourselves, what's happening on Twitter.
So the White House says it's keeping a close eye on what is happening at Twitter. Do you agree with that?
No, I think somebody needs to regulate social media companies who are the largest companies on the planet. If they take down your content, I like Elon Musk. Well, there may be somebody in charge of Twitter tomorrow that I don't like. So what happens if you're a consumer, if Twitter or any other group takes your content down? You have to appeal to the company itself. I want to create a process where a consumer can make their case that my rights were abused to somebody other than the company. I'm not asking the White House to watch Twitter. We have a commission for securities. We have a commission for about every activity in America to make sure the consumer is protected. When it comes to social media, your privacy is at risk. Your content can be taken down because somebody doesn't like you or what you're saying. We need to have a system to deal with those problems.
Now, Senator, we started off by talking about the COVID protests in China, and COVID still is a matter of some controversy here in the United States from the standpoint of many people have lost their jobs or been decommissioned from the military because they refused to get the vaccine. You have introduced legislation to address the military aspect of that. Tell us about that.
Well, so in the coming days and weeks, up to 30,000 people will be discharged from the military for a simple reason: they refuse to take the vaccine. At a time when we're falling short of recruitment, we're discharging able-bodied people. Most of them have had COVID because they refuse to take the vaccine for personal reasons. I think that's silly. I think that's insane. So what I want to do is stop the policy of discharging someone who's qualified to serve simply because they won't take a COVID shot. It's odd to me that you're willing to get shot for your country, but we're going to kick you out of the military because you don't take a shot. Yeah. Millions of illegal immigrants have come across a broken border unvaccinated. And we're talking about not expelling them under Title 42. We got a policy to take able-bodied men and women out of military service at a time we're falling short of recruitment. That needs to stop.
Senator, I want to ask you about what is about to happen down in Georgia. We've seen you campaigning quite a bit.
Yeah.
With Herschel Walker. There seems to be some record turnout as far as the early vote is concerned. What does that tell you about what is going to happen for your party there in that state?
Well, the Democrats are much better about getting early votes banked. I doubt if these are people that they probably would have voted anyway. They're just voting early. We've got Republicans trained to vote only on Election Day. That's a mistake. I think we should be voting at every opportunity, including Election Day. But 59% of the people in Georgia disapprove of Joe Biden as president. 59% of the people in Georgia like Governor Kemp. So Herschel Walker will be an ally of Governor Kemp. He will oppose the Biden agenda. If you want to help Herschel Walker, go to teamherschel.com. If we get 50-50, that means we share power with Democrats. 51-49, if Warnock wins, means they're in charge of all the committees. This is a very big deal for you and your family. He's being outspent 4-1. Go to teamherschel.com. If you can give $5 or $10, it will help him close the gap.
Senator, what's your sense of the enthusiasm among Republicans there in the state of Georgia? Because, you know, not everyone gets the nuance that if it's a 50-50 Senate versus a 51-49 Senate, that the operations are going to be quite different.
Well, there's a poll out today where it's basically tied. We had 3.6 million people vote in the general election. You're probably going to have around 2.8 to 3.2. If Republicans will turn out, we will win. It's a +9. Do you prefer a Republican in the Senate or a Democrat in the Senate? The generic ballot is +9 for Republicans. Kemp won almost 54% of the vote. The road to victory for Herschel is there. Republicans have to turn out. If they do, we win. If they don't, we lose. And if Warnock comes back to the Senate, is a very bad deal for conservatism. Herschel Walker is an African-American willing to put his name behind the conservative cause. We owe it to Herschel, who's been belittled and beaten up beyond belief, to help him. TeamHerschel.com. It really matters who comes out of Georgia in this runoff, which is a week from yesterday. We can win this. It is there for Republicans to win if our people turn out, and the money helps get people turned out. We need the money to turn out our voters. TeamHerschel.com. It will help.
Which leads me to my last question, Senator. And with Democrats already having majority in the Senate, what's at stake with this seat?
Okay, if Warnock comes back, that's another vote for the Biden agenda. If Herschel comes up here, he's not going to empower the most radical agenda in modern history. If it's a 50-50 Senate, that means all the committees have equal representation. If it's 51-49, they have one more vote than we do on every committee. It matters in terms of the type judges you get. In 2024, we have a very favorable map. We don't want to be down 51-49 going into 2024. And Herschel Walker's a breakthrough candidate, like Tim Scott and John James. We need more people of color wanting to be Republicans, and more women, more minorities. So this is a very big deal for us. It matters how the Senate is run. It matters to the future of the Republican Party. And if you can afford it, and I know it's tough out there, go to teamherschel.com, and a lot of people giving a little will close the gap. Herschel's been outspent 4-1.
All right. Senator, it's always good to spend time with you. Thank you. Hope you have a good Christmas coming up. Thank you.
Thanks.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.